Peter, how technical do you think that role needs to be? You mentioned that putting on the data scientist hat, you've got a lot of business, leadership, consulting, obviously legal, getting, going to school for that. How technical do you feel like you are? And how technical does that role need to be?
I think about that in a couple different perspectives. One is I've been doing this for 20 years. So like I said, 2000 is when I started with SPSS. But while I was there, I was not per se the data miner or the data scientist. I was more often kind of that in-between role where I was leading the quantitative team and also had a client-facing aspect as well. So a lot of times behind the scenes, the data miners would be doing the hardcore statistics, and then it'd be up to me to basically work with them to say, okay, what's the business impact here? How does this really translate? What are you telling me, more importantly, right? It's great that this is correlated, but what does that mean from a business perspective? So I think throughout then the 20 years, I've gone back and kind of filled those gaps with more of the technical knowledge. But at this stage in my career, I think my value is being well-versed in business and legal and the analytics side, and being able to really bridge that gap between the legal teams, the technical teams, the business teams, and more importantly, deliver value for the organization.
Great. One last question, Peter, and that's the future. Looking into the future, how do you see AI analytics and data continuing to change the legal industry? Any insight?
Yeah, I think we're really seeing it in the last year and a half. I saw a statistic that legal technology, specifically in data analytics and AI, has gone up tenfold in the last 4 years, and I think that will continue. By no means do I think lawyers are in jeopardy of losing their jobs or being replaced by, if you will, a robot. But what we are seeing is we are enabling our attorneys to focus more on value add work. So I kind of tip my hand a little bit talking about due diligence work. So traditionally what would happen during like a merger and acquisition, company A wants to acquire company B, they get the attorneys and the investment bankers involved, and maybe a question that they want to have answered very quickly is combine all the executory contracts for me and tell me which ones are going to expire in the next, 90 or 180 days, and let's sort those by dollar amount. So traditionally what would happen is you get an army of first, second, maybe third year associates working on this, reading through thousands, if not tens of thousands of contracts, and maybe behind the scenes all collaborating on a spreadsheet or a database. Now we're using AI technology where we can train, or in many cases, these tools are pre-trained to extract the data elements that we need. So what I mean is it'll know to pull out the relevant parties and dates and dollar amounts and specific clauses. We did something like this when COVID first hit, looking at the force majeure clause and finding out, do we need to give notice to the counterparty in order to invoke it? So if you have 10,000 real estate agreements, it'd be great to know which ones fall on which side of the path, whether notice or no notice. But we were able to do that in a matter of hours, which would have taken weeks or months. We're also saving our clients a lot of money. And at the same time, we're giving our attorneys the opportunity to do higher value work than just traditional reviewing contracts or legal documents. So I think that's what we're going to see more. The other point that I'd like to make is I think clients too are looking for multidisciplinary teams. So you're seeing it, firms like EY and Deloitte are starting to dip their hands into legal, but I think the bigger picture is they're taking the best of the professional services. So you're getting your traditional CP, your accountants, your lawyers, your CIO advisory, your technology people, and they're all working together on a common problem for a client. And I think that's what we're going to see more going forward.
Great. Appreciate your leadership, appreciate the insight and the time today, Peter. It has been informative and helpful. And again, I just appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Be well.
All right. For those who want to see more information or more interviews, you can visit cdomagazine.tech for additional information and interviews. Thank you.